guys, welcome back to my kitchen. Today we are making another recipe. We are making keto granola. Now this recipe actually has measurements and I try to follow the measurements because if you don't, it doesn't really turn out quite as good. So I will have the recipe listed down below. I will talk about it as I put it together, but if I'm going too fast, just check the description box below and I will have the recipe there. So if you're not familiar with keto, it's basically just low carb, and what comes in granola normally, oats and sugar, is full of carbs. So I created this recipe. I looked up a variety of recipes on Pinterest and Instagram and all kinds of places and put together this recipe for myself. So this is my recipe that I've kind of molded variety of different recipes into one. And it is pretty dang good if I do say so myself. Before we get started, don't forget, if you're new here, scroll down below real quick and subscribe. Turn on your notifications for my channel so you don't miss a thing. I talk about all things food, finance, fun, just all of them. Food, finance, and fun. No, but I talk about living life on a budget and how we do it and how we have been able to pay off a lot of debt to work towards living a life of financial freedom. And this is part of it. Even though this is a recipe, this is my way of having things that we enjoy, but on a budget, and also that work within the diet that we are on. So now that that's all out of the way, let's get started on this keto granola. What's nice about this recipe is that you just dump it all in together and mix it up. So we're gonna start with what's the bulk of the granola, which is the nuts and seeds. So we first have a cup of whole almonds that I did a rough chop on. So I measured the cup out first, chopped them up really quick on a cutting board, and as you can see, some of them are still pretty big pieces. That's how I like it. You could chop it up more, but I like to have big chunks in there. So we have a cup of almonds, and then we have another cup of sliced almonds. Then we have a cup of pecan pieces. It's cheaper to buy the pecans already cut, so pecan pieces. All those will go in there. Next, we have unsweetened, my oven's ready, unsweetened coconut. So this is a half a cup of unsweetened coconut that goes in. Pumpkin seeds, a third of a cup of pumpkin seeds. Sunflower seeds, a quarter of a cup. These are hemp hearts. We have a quarter of a cup of hemp hearts. And then finally, flax meal, ground up flax seeds. This is a quarter of a cup as well. Now that we have all the nuts and seeds and filling in the bowl, we will add all the flavor. So this is a half a cup of butter melted. Pour that in there. Then we have a half a cup of peanut butter powder. I used regular peanut butter in this recipe and it just made it a little bit too wet. So peanut butter powder is much better. This is a third of a cup of erythritol. Erythritol is a sugar substitute. So a third of a cup of that. Then we have a quarter of a cup of sugar-free maple syrup, just for a little more sweetness and mapley flavor. A tablespoon of vanilla. This is Mexican vanilla, so it's a little bit cinnamony. You don't need to use that, but if you have Mexican vanilla, this would be what you want to put it in. And then we have a half of a teaspoon of salt and 2 tablespoons of cinnamon. And that's it. That's everything. So once it's all in the bowl, you just mix it up and it will all start incorporating together into a granola. So once it is all all mixed up, you want to make sure that the moisture is even on all of the pieces. You can see it's not as loose anymore and it chunks together a little better. So that's because there's the maple syrup and the melted butter in there. So get it all mixed up, and then I like to use this Rachel Ray pan because it has a little bit of depth to the pan, and also a silicone baking liner. I will link to both of these things down below because this is my favorite cookie sheet, first of all, for everything, specifically for granola. And these silicone liners change your life. If you don't have a silicone liner, oh, you need one because nothing sticks to it. It's amazing. So I have those ready to go, and I'm just gonna dump the granola onto the cookie sheet like that, and then I will get it all spread out on the cookie sheet so it's even and it can all cook evenly. Once that's done, I am just gonna put it in the oven low and slow. It goes into the oven at 250 degrees for an hour. Then you take it out, flip it all around, and cook it for another 30 minutes. It takes a while, but it is worth the wait. So here it is. It is cooked for an hour and a half. I flipped it after an hour, then cooked it for another 30 minutes. And when it's hot, it still feels a little soft, but as it cools down, it gets crunchy. So I'm just gonna keep it in the pan. I kind of flipped it over again, let it cool down, and then I actually store this in mason jars in the fridge. I think it just keeps it fresh longer. It's a pretty big batch, and it takes us a while to eat all of this, so when we keep it in the fridge, it stays crunchy and fresh. So as soon as it's cooled, I will put it in jars, and it'll be done. So the granola is ready. We have this just as is with some almond milk, or we make yogurt kind of parfaits with it. So I really like this Too Good light and fit low carb yogurt. So I'm going to make just a little yogurt parfait. So I use some of the granola, fresh from the jar. Just a little like that on top. And then I like to put some fresh ground almond butter. We get this at Winco, and you just grind it in the store, and a little dollop on top, and there, you get the idea. Oh my, what a mess. There we have it.